After the death of Viserys I in 129 AC, the Green faction of Dowager Queen Alicent Hightower usurped the Iron Throne, declaring her eldest son Aegon king of Westeros, while on Dragonstone, the Blacks crowned the chosen heir Rhaenyra, beginning the dance of the Dragon Civil War. As the fighting intensified, the Blacks needed more allies and realized Targaryen men likely fathered many illegitimate children with small folk, and so announced the Sowing of the Seeds event, promising land, riches, and knighthood to anyone who successfully bonded a dragon and fought for the Blacks. Despite the 16 dead and thrice as many wounded, the Blacks recruited 4 successful dragon riders, including Hard Hugh Hammer, the bastard son of a blacksmith who claimed Vermithor, the alcoholic former man-at-arms Ulf the White, also called Ulf the Sot, who mounted Vermithor's mate Silverwing, the supposed illegitimate child of Laenor Velaryon, Adam of Hall, who claimed Sea Smoke and was more likely sired by Corlys Velaryon, and Nettles, a 16-year-old dark-skinned girl who regularly brought an offering of mutton to Sheepstealer until he grew comfortable with her presence and accepted the bond. Among the 4 new dragon riders, Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White became figures of infamy, earning a reputation and legacy remembered for centuries to come. Born the bastard son of a blacksmith, little is known about Hugh's backstory or the possible origins of his Targaryen blood. However, some have theorized he was the son of Sarah Targaryen, the rebellious daughter of Jaehaerys the Conciliator who fled Westeros and became a prostitute in Lys, thus making Hugh the cousin of King Viserys and the rogue prince Daemon Targaryen. Though illiterate, Hugh grew to be large and tall, wielding a warhammer with hands strong enough to twist steel bars. Similar to Hugh, little is known about Ulf's backstory, save that he was a man-at-arms on Dragonstone who drank too much. However, some have theorized he was the bastard son of Balon the Brave, making him the half-brother of King Viserys and Daemon Targaryen, as well as the uncle of Queen Rhaenyra. Even so, he may have grown up as an orphaned street urchin who often wished for death, letting a red priest use him for coin. This same priest may have claimed young Ulf was special because of his king's blood, and so he adopted the story, despite being unsure if it was true. Like Hugh, Ulf was illiterate, but had the white hair and Valyrian features of House Targaryen. After Hugh bonded Vermithor, the former dragon of his possible grandfather King Jaehaerys, and Ulf claimed Silverwing, the former dragon of his possible grandmother Queen Alysanne, Hugh and Ulf fought valiantly for the Blacks in the Battle of the Gullet, but showed little remorse for the death of Rhaenyra's eldest son Jaehaerys, sharing a drink after the fighting to celebrate their victory, with Hugh saying, "We are knights now, truly," while Ulf laughed and replied, "Fie on that, we should be lords." Upon capturing King's Landing, Rhaenyra's husband, Daemon Targaryen, suggested marrying Hugh Hammer and Ulf White, as they now called themselves, to the daughters of the deceased Lords Rosby and Stokeworth, thereby allowing them to inherit the Rosby and Stokeworth castles through their wives. However, Lord Corlys argued both girls had younger brothers who should inherit over the older sisters, calling Rhaenyra's succession an exception to established tradition because her father specifically named her the heir. Ultimately, Rhaenyra sided with Lord Corlys, possibly fearing the loss of support from other nobles, and instead knighted Hugh and Ulf, granting them small holdings on Driftmark. To celebrate their achievement, Hugh went to a brothel on the Street of Silk and beat to death one of Rhaenyra's household knights over an argument about the maidenhood of a young virgin, while Ulf got drunk and rode a horse naked through the streets. When discussing the fate of their enemies, Daemon suggested destroying the houses Baratheon and Lannister to grant Storm's End to Ulf White and Casterly Rock to Hugh Hammer, but again Corlys disagreed, claiming half the lords of Westeros would turn on them if they destroyed such ancient and noble houses, and again Rhaenyra sided more with Corlys, deciding to send these houses terms of peace once Aegon and Aemond were dead. As the Blacks started the next stage of the war, Hugh and Ulf were sent on their dragons to the first Battle of Tumbleton in the Reach, where they must kill Aegon's youngest brother Daemon Targaryen and his dragon Tessarion. Yet by this point, they had grown tired of the Blacks, and felt they deserved more for their contributions, and so betrayed Rhaenyra to instead secure victory for the Greens. Unfortunately for the Hightower army, they soon saw Hugh and Ulf as honorless vagrants, unable to capitalize on their recent victory because the Dragonseeds refused to move until their demands were met. Although Darren named Ulf the Lord of Bitterbridge, he instead wanted Highgarden, the capital of the Reach, believing the Tyrells should be named traitors since they did not participate in the war. An eager patron of the Body Badger Tavern, Ulf gave himself entirely to drink and was said to rape 3 maidens each night, feeding those who displeased him to his dragon. As for Hugh Hammer, he took the widow of a knight he killed into his bed and sought an even greater prize than Highgarden, donning a crown of black iron to proclaim himself king of Westeros, gathering many warriors to his cause thanks to a prophecy that said, "When the hammer shall fall upon the dragon, a new king shall arise, and none shall stand before him." Though many associated this prophecy with Hugh, it more likely referred to Robert's rebellion a century and a half later, when Robert Baratheon became king after killing Rhaegar Targaryen with a warhammer. Outraged by Hugh's audacity, young Daeron Targaryen threw wine in his face and was threatened with a beating, while Sir Roger Corn actually knocked the crown off Hugh's head, saying, "A crown does not make a man a king. You should wear a horseshoe on your head, blacksmith." Angered by this disrespect, Hugh nailed 3 horseshoes into Sir Roger's skull, causing a fight between their supporters that left 3 dead and 12 wounded. Deciding to assassinate the 2 betrayers, a group of nobles formed the Caltrop Conspiracy, yet before they could strike, the Second Battle of Tumbleton erupted, when Adam Valerion and Seasmoke led a Riverland army of 4,000 blacks in a vicious surprise attack. Eager to prove his courage and loyalty to Rhaenyra, Adam and Seasmoke engaged in a chaotic melee with the riderless dragons Vermithor and Tessarion, ending with all of them dead or gravely wounded to die soon after. A brutal battle resulting in many killed, including Prince Daeron Targaryen. The Blacks emerged victorious as the Greens were unable to count on Ulf the White, who was so drunk he slept through the fighting, and Hugh Hammer, who was killed by the Caltrop Bold John Roxton before he was then cut down by the False King's men. Though they lost the battle, many Green nobles survived as the gates to the city remained closed. Therefore the Blacks looted the dead and moved on. The last dragon rider among them, Ulf the White, named himself king after learning of Hugh's death, and so the Caltrops gifted him poisoned wine. Yet Ulf grew suspicious, and so Sir Hobart Hightower sacrificed himself by drinking the wine and praising its taste, thereby giving Ulf the confidence to partake, resulting in the death of both a few moments later. Left without a rider, Silverwing remained wild the rest of her life, making her lair on a small island in Red Lake, northwest of the Reach. Remembered as dishonorable villains who harmed both the Blacks and Greens, Hard Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White nonetheless made a significant impact on the war, contributing to the eventual decline and fall of the Targaryen dynasty. Looking for a new world to explore? Why not check out the Heroes of the Nine Realms series by Alex E. Martin, a longtime supporter of the channel. An exciting fantasy adventure based on Norse mythology, Seasons of Havoc, the 3rd book in the series, is now available for purchase. Continuing the epic adventure from Book 1, Fugitives of Helheim, and Book 2, The Frozen God, chaos reigns as realms collide, with dragons, undead, and giant monsters now roaming land and seas, while demons from the underworld run rampant. Broken and dying, Sigurd races toward Asgard with his godly companions who grow weaker and older by the day, facing threats older than humanity. Should he fail, the Underworld's queen gets his soul, but Sigurd's struggle is only half the story. In Asgard, his lover Brynhild is forced into a bitter alliance with a young Valkyrie who has every reason to despise her. Bound by bitterness, duty, and bad blood, they're sent on an impossible mission: retrieve a powerful soul from the sea goddess to turn the tide against chaos. To survive what comes next, Sigurd and Brynhild may have to surrender the last remnants of what makes them human. Available on Amazon and Goodreads, be sure to check out this wonderfully imaginative series and dive deep into the Nine Realms. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Tamika the Black Wolf, Drac the Bronze, Delacruz the Freed, and Kristen Greeneyes of the Company of the Cat. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.